Now, along this remaining quarter of an hour, I think we have touched and turned a lot of stones, but we might say that by the end, your script is made of different sequences. And those sequences have to go a rhythm. It means sometimes they might be short, sometimes they might be long, and they should have contain scenes. And now scenes are the articulations of your sequences. Each scene is linked to another, and a scene is made of shots. So that's in the shots. The first scene, for example, could contain different shots for exterior, interior, and so on. Now, before we said that we should keep in mind how a scene is built, how a scene is constructed. So normally we should ask ourselves, what is the purpose of this particular scene? Does it serve any particular purpose? Does this scene contribute to the whole idea of my script? Does this scene end on a question that will lead the viewer into the rest of the story and wait for what is coming? And now, if the scene isn't working, can I brainstorm another idea for that scene? Have I given much time, screen to unimportant events and minor characters? Now, what is the question posed by the beginning of your story? Because does my script answer the question that I originally asked in the beginning? Now, if your script revolves around a bank robbery, then your climax can't be about the robber's marriage breakup or something that has nothing to do. Now, if you can't answer this type of question, that's a good indicator that the scene might be redundant or irrelevant, so you have to omit it once for all. Now, for example, in this scene where my heroine is having a problem with her psyche because she dreams and she sees that a girl, another woman, is trying to steal her husband, the bearded man right now we see, and she's going to visit a dealer, a spiritual dealer, to solve that problem. The protagonist I have right here, he has another problem. I mean, his father died, and he's in love with him, of course, and he takes a picture of him, and he takes it to that place to talk to his father, and later on he's going to talk again to his father. Now he's always thinking not about his marriage status, but about the loss of his father. Now I'm going to to provide you with some concepts for screenwriting tips or clues. Many people are blocked by the fact that inspiration doesn't come. Now, inspiration, it suffers it to run out for ideas, listen to a piece of music, read a poem. You can make your engine work by thinking about things that happen to you. You can pick up a story from any man and make it, of course, if it is relevant, and use this as starting points to build a character, to build the images, to build the story, and make your imagination flow. And of course, noting down in your notebook whatever comes to you, because in this way you manage to regroup all the information needed to reconstruct your script. Number two, starting out to write about what you know. You cannot write about petrol business or traffic business or drug business or something you don't know. You got to know to write about something you are in every day in touch with it. For example, about your work, about your occupation, your hobbies, your family, your childhood, or things that get you excited, that the things that make you so mad to know about. And number three, many people are afraid of making mistakes. Now, I think learn from them. You got to learn from your mistakes. And the writer's block is mostly the writer's fear, because fear is the most dangerous thing. If you get it wrong, and nobody will like it, no filmmaker will share your script. The idea that any writer sit down at his laptop every morning and work on it 2 or 3 hours a day, that makes some sense, I guess. Now, another trick of making your imagination work, a lot of people can do it. Now, there are many scripts that you can find either as a book, for example, Pulp Fiction, the complete screenplay, and then you can read your script and at the same time watch it, and then you follow how you can follow how the writers, what were the writers intention, how does the writer made it in particular sentences, and how the director or you via you as a mediator can transfer what is literature or what is written to a visual form. And number five, make your characters want something. We have always insisted since the beginning of this presentation that your characters should have a wish, should have a want, and you cannot make it easy for them. There should always be some barriers to give some profound depth to your characters, otherwise they are very, very weak and they got no need to be the If you want your central character to be very dramatic and then have a dramatic structure, then, for example, if we take Greenwood and his friend Ellie, then we are going to construct the triangle through Greenwood's father. So then we have a structure that is based on number one, Greenwood is our character. Number two, he wants to be in a deep, intimate relation. Number three, Ellie, his girlfriend, asks him to meet, but number four, Greenwood tries to avoid that date. 5, Greenwood agrees finally to meet Ellie, and Greenwood is going to have to let down his walks. 7, Greenwood goes to meet Ellie, and 8, Greenwood accepts himself finally as final point. Now, another very important thing, and that number 6, that sometimes people start writing there what they want to say, and that's not the point, because filmmaking has to do basically with showing things. Whatever a character wants or feels, it's always more interesting to learn this through his deeds, his actions, as opposed to dialogue. And it's better always to present and show your characters doing something. Now, write to your strengths. If you are naturally funny, then you bring some fun if you work. If you are not a fan of research and you believe that your script needs a lot of research, you cannot going to spend 5 years going to libraries to make your script. Now, another important thing, and that's number 8, is you got to free your characters as much as you can from cliches. Cliches are easy made and they don't make real characters. So if you are worried when you are writing a cliche characters we may have seen before, then switch an element of that character around. Change his sex, change his name, change his class, change his age, make him occupied with something. This can often turn a cliche on its head and leads to something different and interesting. Now, number 9, I think you make your characters feel real by adding surprising contradiction. And that's what Aristotle called the conflict in every. Dramatize your screenplay, give it a dramatic power, make your character live in dilemmas, as we have said. Now, why does my character and my plot matter? Just come up with one and then with the other. Whatever you come up with the first means that you are eventually got to come up with the other, or you won't have anything anyway, because character is plot and plot is character. So, meaning your plot should be planned, should be designed, and created around only what your protagonist wants, but also around whatever obstacle you drive in front of him. So that drop that uh, obstacle smack dab in the middle of your protagonist want, and the result is conflict. Now here there is a conflict between the really married, recently married girl and her husband. So she wants to find a spiritual solution to that conflict by going to a spiritual leader so that he can write her some Quran and deal her. So action drives your plot too. So your character is going to act toward the want and the desire. But before you go ahead and simply plot some basic action that your protagonist has to keep on. Stop and give your protagonist's response some real thought. Why? Because you want your audience to jump on the protagonist train and ride all the way to the end of your line, right? If you are not saying right, then I will say it for you. Right. This is something, or perhaps one of the places where so many screenwriters get it wrong. This is perhaps where so many movies get it wrong. That is perhaps one of the key elements that will start the transformational character arc ball rolling. Now, Chan, it's a use of a three-way triangle of conflict. Now, um, conflict is the basic things of creating tension between characters. Normally, it is said that that the tension is created in a triangle way between an antagonist and protagonist, and both of them fight to get the love of a woman. Now, then you got, I think, try to force your protagonist into action at the end of Act 1, because if you leave him and drift into him into the sequence without doing anything, the reader might get lost. So you got to plunge him since the beginning in something dangerous, for example, a murder or an action that has to be counted for. Now, making and building your protagonist is one of the guarantees that make your writing and screenplay successful. So it's your protagonist's emotion reaction to action that is the seed of the transformational character arc. So each emotional reaction to action causes this seed to germinate and sink in roots and grow. So grow into a new being, and that's the change, the emotional change to and the reaction to whether this transformational act is never ending, but it comes right at the right moment. So we can sum up and say that there are 5 stages to the cycle of your transformational character arc. Number one, it could be about his awareness, your character consciousness that change or reinvention of himself is necessary to respond to the conflict. Now, your character also emotional ability to let go of the old and move on to something new. And your character creative exploration of strategic decisions leading to and ending with their ultimate decision to act one way or another. And planning and implementation of plan require to carry out his ultimate decision to take action in one way or another. And of course, acting in that way or the other is in response to the basic conflict